Yo.
Hey, what's going on?
Not too much. How about you?
Not too much. Just waiting on. I thought my food would be here before we started, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Hate it when that happens, man. Dude, we're not going to lose to the Wildcats, are we?
Oh, I haven't actually even been watching. What's the score?
It's halftime 44-38 or 9, something like that.
They've been playing every team close, so
Yeah, hey. Hopefully we
yeah, it could
win.
happen. Yeah. I know we're supposed to start at 7. It looks like the food's like right down the street. Do you mind if I
No,
grab it
no,
real quick?
no, go for it. Yeah, because Hong's not
All
even
right,
here yet, so
right. All right. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
sounds good.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Do we want to shoot Hong a ping here and see if she's going to get on or just start without her?
Yeah, we can shoot her a ping real quick. She didn't respond to the 7 thing, so I wasn't sure if she is still free.
Yeah.
She's got a lot going on, but yeah, we can definitely see her. She's joining. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm doing it now. Worst case, she hops in a little bit in. No problem. I got another couple minutes before I'm too worried about starting.
Yeah. I was just say worst case we start at like 7:05 or something, and
Right.
she can join in if she's available. If not, we'll just roll.
Exactly. What'd you get to eat?
This place called Dilla's. Have you heard of it? Do they have one up there?
It sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Well, it's all quesadillas,
Oh,
but
that
like
sounds
different types.
amazing.
Yeah, and in fact, I don't think it's in Dallas. I'm pretty, or it's in Kansas City. I'm pretty sure it's a Texas thing
I'm looking
because
this up right now.
a lot of their menu is like Texas based.
Yeah, it looks like the closest one to me is in Plano.
Plano, Texas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yeah.
Oh, okay. There's one up in Milwaukee. It looks. Oh no, that's a Ethiopian restaurant with the same name. That's fun.
I was gonna say that's random.
Yeah, just randomly up there. And oh man. All right, should we go ahead and just get started? Let her join in, or you want a second to eat?
Yeah, give me almost no problem.
No, 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 no rush. Take your time.
This is.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, apologize
No
for my turn.
worries.
Oh,
It happens. Raw's eating
whew.
anyway, so
He has to feed
you had
those
a little
human children.
coverage.
I thought I heard a mouthful over there, but I thought it was just feedback. So, So there we go.
He's smashing
But yeah,
some.
somebody had to feed the boys, and that someone was me. I apologize.
All
Whew.
good.
It's okay. I had to feed myself.
Right. I haven't I
Well,
haven't eaten
and
dinner
then I
yet,
took
so
my food to this space so that I could hear y'all participate, and then in between mute, I could shovel some food in my face before, the next leg of mom life.
no, that's too funny.
There we
Hey,
go. We're all
So
taking care of ourselves now.
right, slowly but surely. All
we
right,
got to, y'all.
Yep.
Where
I'm
are we at? How we doing? What have we covered? Are we done?
yeah,
We
we're
haven't even
done. You
started
can
yet. We're
go.
gonna
I
start.
haven't even started yet. Oh man.
Love it.
All right, launching it. Let's go. Howdy ho, neighbors. How are you?
Too bad. The time has flown by. Like I feel like when was the last time we talked? It feels like it's been a minute and there's been football and we've had the weekend off as we watched the other teams. It's been kind of crazy and how quickly it's going.
Yeah. No, I feel like I barely caught my breath now.
Whew,
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah. Today was. I mean, this week was relaxing. It was nice to not be worried for a football
for
game. At least,
sure.
So yeah. But that changes
It
this week.
changes very quickly
Dun, dun,
this coming week.
dun.
All right, well we
Yeah.
got to
All right, I
start.
don't want to jump all over the place, so I'll let y'all lead us off because we know how I like to do sometimes.
Love it. No, all right, we got to start with the segment though, a little positive yardage. Since
Absolutely.
you've missed a couple of podcasts now, so you got to go first. It's their punishment.
It's my
It's
punishment.
the punishment
All
for,
right,
being a
my
responsible mother and all that kind of stuff.
Having a life
Having
outside of
having
this, unlike
children, yeah, exactly.
unlike
outside of
me and
this
Billy,
podcast.
Right.
unlike
Hey,
us.
don't let them fool you, y'all. Do not let them fool you. Okay, my positive yards from this week. Oh man, there's a lot of little things to be grateful for. I will say right now, I am grateful. I'm coaching seventh grade girls volleyball, as I shared with y'all last week, which was kind of crazy here. And I'm grateful for that. I love coaching, and now I get to work in a different capacity with these students, and it's been good so far. And even though I never played the sport, um, I hope that I'm able to deliver positive yardages to these girls' lives. So that's my positive yardage for currently.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I would say not playing the sport's not super important. Just having that knowledge and being able to motivate people, that's the most important thing. I mean, look at Bill Belichick.
Right.
I mean, so
There
I'm
we
You
just
could
go.
be the Bill
there,
There
Belichick
we
of
go.
volleyball.
there you go.
Seventh grade girls volleyball. Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Wait, do they
exactly.
pay like that though? Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you not getting that
yeah.
back? Ooh, that's
I don't
awkward.
think.
Uh,
Yeah, that's where the comparisons end.
Right.
That's where the comparisons end. But yeah,
Oh man.
well,
um,
darn,
uh,
darn. All right, Raw. What about you?
yeah, I can go next. Yeah, I have a small one. I have a small one. I love my TV shows and movies and things like that, and haven't really had one in a couple weeks that I was truly invested in until this week.
Ooh,
Have you guys seen The Last of Us yet
We're
on HBO Max?
we're
no.
holding off. Yeah, I'm
Oh
excited,
my
but waiting until we can
god.
binge it. I've heard
Okay,
Wait. It's
amazing
called
things.
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
so just a little brief background on it. Stars what's
Pedro
his name?
Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. I was gonna say Pablo.
Pop.
Like,
Pablo
Pedro
Pablo
Pascal.
Escobar.
Yeah, everyone. Yo, no, God.
Well, he did play a Pablo, so there you go.
That's called Narcos. That's a different show.
Yeah, different
But
show.
yeah, but stars Pedro Pascal. People know him from Game of Thrones, Mandalorian, all that good stuff. This show is based on a video game that I think came out back in what 2012 or something like
It's
that.
been out for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. I never had the opportunity to play the game, but I had always heard just from friends of my people I know that like it had a really great story. So when I heard they were going to make it into a show, I was like, okay. For us, who hadn't really had the chance to see it that way, now we'll get that opportunity. It's kind of like how Game of Thrones was a book right before the show, but not everyone went and read the books. So, but you know, great stories can be translated. When a great story can be translated on screen, it's great. In that first episode, it's an hour and a half long, but it is really good. I'm not gonna say too much about it. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you like. I would say zombies. Maybe the only thing I would say about it that's not like spoilery. But yeah,
Okay,
definitely worth checking out.
that's fair. I like it. I like the positive yardage. Hey,
I,
and that's something small but filling. I'll take it.
yeah,
There we go.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, mine. Oh gosh. I think I have to give a shout out to the maintenance guys that operate our apartment complex. We've been struggling lately with some leakage happening in our kitchen ceiling, and nobody can figure it out. But they've been showing up routinely, just taking a stab at it, trying a different fix here and there. Always showing up, just willing to help out, and that's really nice. One of the things that makes me happy to keep being a renter instead of a homeowner, that's for sure, because I know it'd be paying a crazy amount of money if I was having to have a plumber come out like once a day
Whoa.
every day for about a week. But luckily not. It's these guys, even though the problem's not solved yet, the progress is there, or at least figuring out what's wrong and working through it. And hopefully it gets fixed because I'm really tired of having a massive hole in my kitchen ceiling. But um,
Oh,
it's but hey, the happy thought is these guys show up and do a pretty good job. So that's been really nice. It's good that it's like
I
out of
love
my
that.
hands, right? I don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
I don't have to get it fixed. I don't have to cut a check, any of that kind of stuff, and it makes me have a good time. So the next time my dad gives me,
Yeah.
shtick about not owning a home yet and having that kind of equity, I'll just be like, well, hey, think of all the money I'm saving right now.
There we go.
Feels
It
Heaven.
feels
is
really good.
no joke, especially like if you're not super handy, it is no joke.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
such a
but no,
relief.
big props to maintenance people and everything else because yeah, they do they keep the wheels turning on your place. So, and
Right.
that's not a small job. So good for them. Good for
Not a
you.
small job. Definitely happy
Mm-mm.
or great to have like someone knowledgeable handling it versus like, yourself if you don't know if you're not like well versed in that type of thing. So
Right?
Oh,
yeah,
because I know if I had tried to fix it myself, I would have made the problem
could go so
worse.
wrong.
Like,
That's
we
what
now have an electrical
Yeah,
problem.
I'd be paying someone else way more money than if I had just called him in the first place. Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
I thought this was the fix. Oh my
No,
gosh. Yeah,
Man,
leave it to the professionals.
the
You can
internet said
watch
I
them
could
if
do
you
it.
want to.
Right.
Billy, we've talked about this before. We can't
It's,
trust everything we see on the internet or hear on the internet.
it's unfortunate, but you're right.
absolutely.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. And we all had a good, relaxing weekend. Hopefully, you got to check out some of the games. We can definitely dive into that next. The super wild card weekend. Yeah, it was
This is a big one.
it was it was actually some of the best games I think I've seen all season. I'm not no cap. Like seriously, like
Yeah.
if you think about
Hmm.
some of these like primetime games we had earlier in the year
Hmm.
and how a lot of them were like snoozevilles,
Uh-huh.
I think some of these games probably have made up for like all of the Thursday night football games.
Oh,
Like
Right.
agree.
yeah.
Agree.
So yeah, it was fun to watch. And I said we got the list. If you want to give some initial thoughts before we get started, or we can just start with the first
I,
matchup. Or
yeah, I was thinking we just go through by matchup and talk about
okay,
it all if we wanted to. Yeah.
yeah,
I just share one overall because this is one of my
Please.
favorite
sure.
weekends of everything. I just love being able, and I know we've discussed this before lightly. I just love being able to have one game at a time.
Uh-huh.
Like I didn't get to watch every game in full, of course, but I love being able to be like, yeah, I don't have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Right.
Right?
Especially when they're good games, you know what I mean? And they're not snoozers, which helps. But yeah, it's just nice to be able to like catch as much of a singular game as you possibly can, and then another one comes on after the completion of one. So,
Right.
but yeah,
Absolutely.
so love that aspect of this season, even though it just means that we're closer to football season being over.
Right. So don't you guys like maybe let me ask y'all, do y'all get like a little slightly like I don't want to make like light of like depression or anything, but don't y'all get like kind of
Right.
depressed once the
I
regular
do.
season ends? It's like, oh damn, we're almost done.
Well,
We're almost
Yes.
done.
and it's the added stress that if your team loses, there isn't a next week
Right?
too.
And then you're done. And you're
Yeah.
done abruptly. And you might not even be ready for them to be done. And then you have to deal with that
Right.
mental load of not being ready for that. I feel you, Rob, for sure.
Yeah. I'm like,
Hundred
damn, we're
sure.
almost there.
Yes. And we are almost there. But you know what? We're going to put off that conversation a little bit because there will be time in the off season for us to discuss those sorts of feelings. But right now, let's enjoy this.
Yeah. Oh, and we have some really good ideas for the off season.
Mhm.
Yeah, obviously, I don't want the season to end, but as far as our podcast is concerned, I have some great ideas we've been kind of working through for the off season. So that'll be fun.
It's
We'll,
going to
we'll
be
tease that a
so
little bit more.
exciting, you guys. So
Yeah.
that way you guys can keep listening and coming along during the off season. We're not done. Just
Yeah.
because,
Heck no.
our boys might be taking a break does not mean that we are done. So we'll get a chance to go through a lot of other off topic things too
Absolutely.
that we love and hope that you guys will love too.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and jump in with the first one. Niners top the Seahawks, and I want to correct that. No, I'm sorry. Billy made the slide, and it's
I did.
amazing. Billy does this
No,
every
it's
week.
not. Are you kidding?
No,
Thank
no.
you.
Well, what I want to say is you meant to say the NFC champion Niners top the Seahawks
There
because
we go.
I think that's who's going to the Super Bowl, like hands down. I know it's been the Eagles all year, but these damn Niners, bro.
They came
Oh my
out and
God.
huge at the right time. That's for
They're
sure.
Insert
on
is
fire.
it Kate Perry song? They came in like a wrecking ball. Like
Oh,
like
it's
you know,
Miley
can we
Cyrus.
add that
Yeah.
clip in? Oh, Miley Cyrus. There we go. I'm like, who was it? Kate Perry? Yeah, one of
I
those.
think,
Are you
Like the
laughing at
most
me?
boomer thing
well,
you've ever
you're right.
said. Like, dang.
No,
Oh,
no, because
oh.
she was close though. Because I thought she was gonna say like came in like a firework. That's Katy Perry. And then,
Right.
Oh, okay. I was like trying to think. I'm like, who was that?
one of those pop stars. Left shark,
Oh my
everyone. Left
gosh.
shark.
Oh my god, he called me a boomer. Oh my god.
Wow. No, I didn't say that.
Wow.
That
No,
must have
that
been
was me.
Billy.
That
No,
was me.
that was
100%. Yep.
Billy.
Oh
I
my
did it.
God.
Ouch. I feel.
Billy.
That fancy music there. You watching that on the YouTubes?
Billy came in like Skip Bayless.
Oh. Skip Bayless about to get canceled.
Oh
Okay.
man.
Okay. I'm sorry. Stay on
Yes.
topic. But
Anyways.
yes, let's like yes, it came in like a wrecking ball. There we go. And wrecked
Yeah.
a whole lot of teams' plans. There we go. That's what I was
My
trying to get
goodness.
Yeah, they've really turned it up this season. I think it does go a long way to show that they're what now 6-0 with Purdy. Is that right?
Yeah.
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 Which really shows like how complete of a team that they are.
Sure.
Because Purdy's balling out. No, there's zero argument there. He's playing incredibly well. But I was like trying to think about it, and like I'm thinking any other team that's in the NFL, and that's including the Chiefs, if he had been plugged in there, I don't think he's winning, right? But the 49ers,
That's yeah, go ahead.
just the 49ers with, how incredible their defense has been, plus the skill position players that they have that can, be so dynamic in either receiving the ball or running the ball is just making a huge difference for them. It really feels like that. I don't think any other team is as complete as this team really is, which is a little bit scary to think about. Thankfully, they're on the other side of the bracket until the Super Bowl game, but
Right.
Man.
No, they're complete on all three sides of the ball. And I slightly disagree with you on Purdy himself. Because you would think a third string quarterback on a team this stacked, like the team is stacked, make no mistake. But you would think a third string quarterback comes in and his only job is to be a game manager. Just check down, check down, check down. Just let the weapons work and let the defense make the stops and just don't make any mistakes. but bro is taking shots. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bro is taking actual shots toward the end zone. He's taking risks. He's shucking tackles and things like that. Like he's actually like is trying to like he wants that spot. Like
Yeah.
you can tell he's playing to get that spot. He's like, I'm not going to the bench again after
Right.
this. So I
Right.
mean, how
He's
effective he
earned
would
the
be on another.
trust. Yeah, he's earned the trust of the coaching staff in order to play like this.
Right. Like how to your point, how effective would he be on other teams doing all this? Who's to say? I mean, he's only played like 6 games, right? Like
Hmm.
that's all the tape we have on him. But he's definitely playing like someone who wants to start, like you know what I'm saying, versus someone
Absolutely.
just trying to keep the ship afloat. I think I can't remember the sports commentator. They said um he got the keys to the Ferrari, and it's just like, yo, don't wreck it. Just make sure you get the point A to B. But
Mm-hmm.
bro is speeding on the highway.
He's going for it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, stat wise, he's playing very, very well. I still personally think it's too early to tell if he is a top tier contender of a
Way
player.
too early. Oh,
Yeah,
way too early.
because
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
said,
for sure.
there just isn't tape on him. So I'm very,
Yeah,
very happy that if they do end up being the team in the Super Bowl, we're going to have
yeah.
another, this last week's game plus two more games of film that we'll be able to have our team study
Mm-hmm.
and any hopes to get them
Right.
done.
I mean, he reminds me. I mean, this might not be a good comparison, but just kind of a Baker Mayfield type situation where it's like he's coming in hot, but then like we'll see after how much more tape we get on the guy, like how truly good he is. But so far,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So far, so
Well,
good.
and I will say, because there's always that comparison of like that playoff atmosphere
yeah.
and a young, inexperienced quarterback, right? So he held up well in this contest. So like, who was it? Oh, we can't say that about some of the other quarterbacks, of course, but he did well for inexperience, for being young, being Mr. Irrelevant, and then also
Hmm.
being just thrown into the spot a few weeks ago. He held his own really well. So, but yeah, he has a lot of talent around him, and that helps a lot. But
Hmm.
you got to give it to him. This is definitely one of those really, really cool stories in the making. But
Absolutely.
it'll stop short at some point here.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know that they'll go all the way, but we'll see. I know
we'll
you
see.
feel otherwise. Yeah.
They
I
they definitely I think they definitely faced the right team in order to have a dominant game. The
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks, while good, haven't been great all season. I would say they did enough to
Mm-hmm.
get into the playoffs. Geno Smith probably does deserve comeback player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the Seahawks were one of those teams that had to sneak in at the end of the year, right? Like they
right.
weren't locked in at any point. It was the last game; they had to get it there. And then you're, playing against this just on fire 49ers team, coming out guns blazing. So, yeah, much to your point, yeah, it's just, it was the right opponent for them in the right situation at home. You start flipping things around, maybe even play a different team. Because the other thing to remember is like this is a divisional game, so that means they played them twice already this year.
Sure.
So that's a
Yeah.
defense with incredible tape, including two of their own games against a Seahawks offense being led by, Geno Smith, who is playing incredibly well, but hasn't always been an incredible player, and that's yeah, I feel like that helps him out a lot. It's a good soft entry into the playoffs versus it being like, some of these other games that we did see this weekend.
Sure. Yeah, and definitely, yeah, to the point, like going into these other games, if we have no more, we can definitely jump into the next topic.
Mm,
Like playing with confidence, being a young player and a young quarterback coming into the playoffs and playing with confidence. He definitely did that right this
mm-hmm.
weekend, and that's a great segue into this next matchup where I think both of these guys came in with confidence in different parts of the game. You know, Like,
Absolutely.
so did y'all watch this game? Like, did y'all watch
I
this
you know
the whole thing?
I only caught little bits and pieces of it. I had wanted to watch the whole thing because it was going to be like it
Yeah,
was like one of my highlighted games this weekend. But no, unfortunately, I didn't get to. I only caught the
man.
yeah.
And we're talking about Jags and Chargers, people.
Yes,
And
yeah. Sorry, Jaguars
no,
beating
no,
the Chargers
you're
31-30.
whew, whew, boy.
And like and I feel for all those Chargers fans who maybe like fell asleep when they were in the lead and thinking that this was done and
Right.
Locked
woke up
in.
to a completely, Shocking story.
Because let's be real, we've been there.
Um,
Let's be real,
Right.
we've
oh
been there.
yeah, yeah,
The
for real,
kingdom's been
for
there.
sure.
So yeah,
Yes, definitely. So this game was wild to me. The Jags, they luckily for them, they turned it around, but I felt like I was not watching that same Jags team that I watched against the Titans. I'm like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
what is
Yeah.
happening? Like it just like when they played the Titan, I was like, ooh, I'm not sure I want to go up against them,
Right. Right.
So something was definitely off. They made the adjustments needed, of course, and turned it around. But wow. But it just shows you that their vulnerability, like
yeah.
it shows you that there's that, of course. So it was very surprising. A very, very crazy game.
Yeah, yeah, I stuck it out because they were up 27-0. Chargers were up 27-0. Trevor Lawrence
Mhm.
threw 4 picks in the beginning. I'm like, whew, this
Yeah.
is not good for that. And I felt bad for actually at first I was feeling bad for the Jags fan base. I love it. I love the sport, like just all across the board. Like
Mhm.
obviously Chiefs Kingdom all the way, hands down first.
Yeah.
But I love watching like fan base getting their first home playoff game. I think that's what the stat was, right? That was their first home playoff game. Like the Jags have
That
been to the
sounds right.
playoffs, but
Yeah.
they're always an away team.
Right. They've never
So
won
this
their
was their
division before,
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
So this was their yeah. So this was their first time hosting, and I think the crowd for the beginning they were electric. Then they got a little quiet, and then once they started mounting that comeback, the crowd came back alive. Like that's always fun, I think. But yeah, I just kept watching because Trevor Lawrence was my DraftKings quarterback, so I'm like, bro, I need you to do
You
something.
need to pull it together here.
I got to make some money here, which I didn't, but still,
Right.
there was that hope. There was
Um,
that hope.
I
But
think
yeah,
that is something I think we'll talk about as we keep going through all of these games, though. But you seem to touch on it a little bit there. Is that this game wasn't convincing about who the better team was. It really could have ended either
Mhm.
way. I felt like that was the AFC as a whole this past weekend. Is like no team was genuinely convincing, opposed to the NFC games where it felt like every team that won was convincing, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the things
mm,
I saw showing up on Twitter a lot, and something I definitely felt myself, either watching the games or watching back the highlights, watching just everything going on, is like going into this weekend, the Jaguars were scary, the Bills were scary, the Bengals were scary. I am not scared anymore. Honestly, and I know we'll talk about it more, but
Love
it's
it.
like, yeah, it's just like all three of those like big scary teams just came in and had such huge miscues during the playoffs. It really felt like they all expended their their mojo just this past weekend trying to lock up whatever they needed to lock up in order to finish out the season. And because of that, we ended up seeing, such a close game with the Jags Chargers 31-30. And honestly, the Chargers blew it. They,
Yeah.
yeah, and you can see that frustration coming out of the players, especially the defensive players, because, they know they're the ones that probably cost the game, right? Like, I believe their offensive coordinator was fired.
let go. Yeah, he was. He
Yeah,
was fired.
Yeah.
but it kind of surprises me that it wasn't also the defensive coordinator, because the defense did cost them this game. 30 points should be enough to win you a football game if your defense is playing well enough.
Hmm.
But it's, you could tell like Joey Bosa was in his head. He was throwing fits, and then he had a quote that's going to get him significant fines. Let's say after the game when he was talking about the officials.
Yeah,
Um,
but he's not
What did
wrong.
he
I
say?
I
he
What
agree
did
with
he
him.
say?
he
Well,
said something. Go ahead, Ross. Sorry, you
Because
probably
he
have.
well,
also
so
he threw his helmet off, right?
Hmm.
He threw his helmet off.
threw it
Okay, I saw
threw it
that.
twice. Threw it twice. Threw it on the
Oh,
ground.
twice.
Staley
Okay.
went back to hand it to him. He took it, threw it again.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was
Ooh.
he was mad because I mean the calls were bad, man. Like, and that's the thing. We say don't blame the refs. I have no reason to defend the Chargers. All right, they're in our division. I have no reason to defend them, and they call it charging for a reason. But that was a bad call on Bosa. That was a bad call. Like, and those are like game changing calls. And I know, yeah, the argument comes in to they shouldn't have let them get back in the game. Yes, they shouldn't have, but still, like it. There's still. I agree with Joey Bosa 100%. There still should be some accountability. What he said is there should be a little bit more accountability for them because if he says something to them, he gets a $40,000 fine. But they can make bad calls and walk off scot free. And then he got a little petty with it, talking about and probably make fun of me and stuff for
Hmm.
like saying that asshole and everything. I mean, definitely go find. I mean, it's on Twitter. It's all over Twitter. Be careful when you're searching Twitter because Antonio Brown. Just be careful which player you search on
Oh
Twitter.
my God.
This
Oh
week,
no.
if you search
Oh my
Joey
gosh.
Bosa, if you search Joey Bosa, that should come up. And yeah, he was hurt. He was a little bitter, and I get it. Like you're right. Like you can't lose your cool, but at the same time, man, I mean, if the commentators are agreeing, if like the fans are agreeing, and we're still not supposed to blame the refs at the end of the day, it's like what are we doing? What are we even
Yeah.
playing this game for? So
Yeah.
Well, and
I agreed with him. Quite
and
frankly, I'm
yeah,
not
no,
gonna lie.
the sentiment behind his message is right. It was a bad call, and there were plenty of bad calls throughout this whole game. Uh, it My biggest issue that I've always had with the NFL is they're just not transparent whatsoever when it does come to how they handle refs and the bad calls that they make. It feels like it's such an exclusive boys club up there with refereeing that it's hard for anyone new to break into there, and because of that, they can't really
Hmm.
genuinely punish any refs that they do have. It feels. I'm sure there's ways to track down exactly how these refs are punished and all of that, but at the end of the day, I don't even know if I've heard of a ref just flat out losing his job with the NFL because of a bad call. And until they start doing stuff like that, like where somebody's job's genuinely on the line, these kind of calls are going to continue because there's just no repercussions at all,
Yeah,
and that sucks.
Probably true. Hmm.
Now, I mean, like you do have to give the ref some leniency because it's hard to see things in full speed and all that kind of stuff. But when
sure.
it's repetitive, it's the same refs making the same mistakes, all that kind of stuff. It's
Right.
at that point, one bad call shouldn't end a ref's career. It's a whole entire sequence of bad calls,
Pattern.
and they
Yes.
should absolutely do something where it's very transparent as to how they're handling those kind of things. There's
Yeah, because if the players, their penalties, their fines, their discipline, and their course of action is public,
mhm.
like the refs should be as well. So
There's one
I
great
don't see
thing that
why it wouldn't be.
I think it's the Australian Soccer League that does it is they have they allow the media to interview the refs after every game in order to ask them about
Oh.
calls that they made and hey, can you justify why this happened, what's going on. I would love to see something like that, some genuinely professional media type individuals in there, so not somebody who's going to try to do a who gotcha kind of deal, but going
Hmm.
in there and asking them, hey, what did you see and why'd you call that flag, because what that would do is help humanize them too, and so they can be like, yeah,
Sure.
I was off base a little bit. Looking down the line from my point of view, it did seem he was out of bounds, or out of bounds, offsides, that kind of thing. Um, and then
That's a
it'll
great
also
idea,
help
actually.
expose, yeah, people who have who just don't understand the role that they're playing versus those who like just do make a genuine mistake.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
I,
Like definitely the humanization, like it's like we only know these refs from like their bad calls for the most
mm-hmm,
part. We don't ever like hear like a post game interview with like a ref. Oh, this is what I saw, blah blah
mm-hmm.
blah. Yeah, that'd be great. Like that would
That'd
be
be a lot
great.
of fun.
Yeah. But
Well, and I think that's part of it too. It's like the refs have never been such a visible part of the game until recent years, with the bad
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
calls. So it's like I know the game has changed a bit over the course of the years, but it's if the training's not keeping up or something, there's something's got to change
Yeah.
because prior to the last several years, the refs were just on the field and you didn't hear about them. You didn't bicker about their calls or anything until like these last several years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I really hope we see something move in the off season. What it'll be, no clue. But yeah, I remember this year in particular. It just seems like almost every game's been dominated by some kind of bad call somewhere. If for no other reason than all the roughing the passer stuff that's been happening all year long. Something needs to get looked at there. So.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, that was a entertaining game
Hmm.
for better or for worse. It was an entertaining game. I definitely want to say that. This next one was entertaining too. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, and it sounds like you guys agree. Bills top the Dolphins.
You know,
Yeah.
Stressful. Oh my God, this was so
man,
stressful.
I I had massive props to that third string quarterback coming in and taking it to the Bills like this though.
Skylar
Uh,
Thompson.
you
Say his
know,
name. K-State alum.
yeah, there we
Skylar
go.
Thompson.
From Kansas City. There we go.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I honestly didn't even bother turning this game on because I thought it was going to be a blowout. So you guys are going to have to help me out.
Oh,
And
it was
yeah, sorry.
the number of times that the ball was picked off, scooped and scored, turned over, back and forth. Oh my gosh. It felt raw. Did we talk about this? Felt like watching a Chiefs game. I mean, I can't remember who mentioned that, who I was talking to about that, but it was pretty crazy, the ups and downs, and it really came down to the very end. It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely flaws, mistakes on both sides. I mean, it was a great game. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, but
mhm.
I think both teams made some critical mistakes. Just, I guess the Bills made one or two less because it really did come down to the wire. I think clock management was a problem on the Dolphins side of things, but the Bills,
Oh, for sure.
the Josh Allen. I mean, obviously he's a great quarterback and everything, but
He
that
was
man,
not infallible in that
that
game.
man
No.
turns the ball over pretty
Hmm.
bad, and those were some costly turnovers. They kept the Dolphins in the game, along with them, of course, doing their thing on Skylar Thompson actually trying to win this game. But yeah, there were some costly turnovers by the Bills, which, like you said, Billy, like coming into this game, especially after watching the Bills Patriots the week before, you're thinking, oh man, they're all hyped up on heart and emotion and motivation. They're gonna destroy
Right.
they're gonna destroy this
Yeah.
team. And like, no, they can be beat. They can definitely be beat. We almost did it earlier in the season. And definitely can still do it again, even if we have to play at a mutual site.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, huge. And the Dolphins definitely seem to have something the start of something special down there. Let's hope that Tua's off season goes incredibly well for him. Because if it does, I'm starting to buy into the hype a little bit. They may have an offense there, so it'll be it'll be interesting to
And their
see.
defense
Th-
isn't
uh, Their
to
defense
be,
is no slouch. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that defense really helped out and took some of that pressure off of Skylar, I felt like,
Hmm.
with as much as they did to create points for the team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, but great game. Gonna be excited to see the next week. I don't know if y'all had any more on that game. But that definitely looks like we're gonna get our Bengals Bills matchup that we were looking forward to on Monday
Definitely
night.
looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I say it looks like we are getting that.
We are
Yeah,
getting
that's
it. Yes.
happening. Yeah, that's happening.
Short of some catastrophic natural disaster,
Sure,
we
which
will
in
be getting.
Buffalo, that's possible.
Yeah, you never know. Uh,
uh,
yeah, and we'll have the look ahead on the next set of slides. So, um,
yeah, for sure. But Giants, did you want to talk about Giants
Giants
Vikings real quick?
Vikings. Yes.
This was I call this the
Daniel Jones. What do
yeah.
you call it?
Well, I call this the suspect bowl going in because I didn't believe in either one of these teams. Like
Right.
seriously, did not. Like I was like the Vikings. It's so crazy that they were what 13 and 14 and 3, or they were thirteen
Hmm.
and four going into this, something like that.
Yeah.
How they've been? I don't know if this team was good. I didn't know if they were bad. I just felt like I was like I don't know what
Luck
this
of the
team is.
draw. Oh.
Yeah, man, they were like it's almost like okay, I always find ways to bring it back to the Chiefs. This is a Chiefs podcast at the end of the day, but it reminds me of the year we made it in without passing to a receiver. We didn't deserve to be there. We didn't deserve to be. I mean, we played well, but it's just like they're just they're incomplete, and it finally got to him. I think for this game. So yeah.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, is he Danny Dimes again? Are we calling him
I
Danny
think
Dimes?
game he's Danny Dimes, especially after that like handoff, faked out
Okay.
pass
Okay.
behind the battle.
Let's talk about that real quick. Okay, that not to
Billy, you know what we're
diminish.
talking about on this one?
I do not, so I'm going to need
Yeah,
the
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead,
not
Ross.
not to diminish what they did because it was still an impressive win, despite how much I think the Vikings are a joke. They were evenly matched teams going in, and I think the Giants played better, obviously, and got the dub. But that play that people are like all hyping up about, it's the Statue of Liberty. It's a pretty
Okay, yeah.
common football play,
Yeah.
which Josh Allen did it I think a few weeks ago. There's like a video of that, and like it didn't catch anyone's attention, but then like you know Daniel Jones does it in this game, and then people are like, "Oh my God, he's trying to be like Mahomes and all this other stuff," and like Barstool Sports, who just has it out for the Mahomeses for some
Oh,
reason. They're like,
I have
they're
them
just like,
blocked across everything, man. I
yeah,
cannot with them.
yeah, like they're like, if Mahomes did this, people will go crazy. I'm like, do y'all
Oh
actually? You
my
call yourself
gosh.
Barstool Sports? Do y'all actually pay attention to sports? That is a very common football play. Y'all don't do sports. Don't call yourself sports Twitter account if you don't understand it. Sorry, small rant, but
No,
No,
no, you're with it. You're
no.
right.
Very valid rant. You're good.
well, anyway, yeah. I mean, they played their ass off. Like Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, Saquon Barkley. I love having a healthy Saquon Barkley and a healthy Christian McCaffrey in the playoffs. I think that's good for the league, and they did their thing. So yeah,
It's good. Yeah, it's if he stays healthy and that Giants defensive front, continues to play the way that they do. I mean, hard to see them going far, but only because of the competition they're against and not so much as anything about them. Um, I do feel like, they are kind of like a smaller fish in a big pond with what's left out there for them to compete. This game against the Eagles that they're going to have it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be fun and interesting to watch the result of that one for sure.
another divisional.
Man, well, hey, shoot, you want to talk about divisionals? Three of the remaining four teams in the NFC are NFC East teams. The same
Yeah,
division we were
yeah.
making
Dave,
fun of
that
in
is
the offseason.
crazy.
Yeah,
Right?
it's nutty, nutty, nutty,
We
nutty
were,
for sure.
yeah, we were try. I can't really speak for y'all. I know I was dogging them
Oh
in the
yeah,
off
I
season.
thought
I'm
there
like,
was
bro,
not a hope. Yeah.
there's no
I
chance.
think everybody was,
Yeah,
including
yeah,
themselves.
right.
So, I mean,
Meanwhile, our AFC West, we're supposed to be the Chief Killers. Where are all they at? They're all at home, including the Chargers. Sucks to suck. Anyway, but
not wrong there either. And to think, like, all the money that the AFC West teams poured into acquiring the pieces that they thought they needed to beat Patrick Mahomes and company, and here we are.
Here we are.
yeah, yeah, and I'm not gonna be like rose-colored glasses or whatever. The Chargers, they played
Mhm.
us pretty close both times, right? Like in the
Oh
last
yeah,
couple of years, and even the
always.
players admitted. Travis Kelsey, Mahomes, they'll admit like, bro, they give us a good game every time. So I was a little, I'm like, man, if they meet us in the divisional round, it's gonna be another battle. I mean, I think it's gonna be a battle regardless, but for whatever reason, those Charger Chiefs matchups have been just tough, you know. But
Yeah,
they definitely have the disadvantage on kind of the play calling thing. So it doesn't really matter how much. I mean, they've invested in their players and everything, got some talent over there, but they still don't really have like that leadership that can get them past us. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
I mean, people say it. Staley has to go. Staley's, as far as we know, is still having a job, but they're gonna have to make some changes to their play calling in the offseason if they want to try to compete with us.
And I think Staley is going to be safe for a little bit just because the players really do seem to have his back. So as long as the
Hmm.
ownership and general management are keeping a thumb on that one, they'd be smart to keep Staley around. But if it goes another season though without much success, that's when things start to get a little bit dicey. So
For sure.
all
All
right,
right, next game.
Bengals over the Ravens. Again, not a result that's very surprising. I think just what is
Hmm.
surprising is how genuinely close it was the entire
Yes.
game.
Yeah,
It was what, pretty much a
Yes.
drop pass in the end zone that was the difference maker, right? If I'm remembering correctly, the Ravens had like the ball in the end zone and just couldn't convert the touchdown, and that's kind of when it was a sealed deal.
It was that, and
yeah,
then
I
the
think
goal
so.
line fumble that
Uh-huh. That
Mm.
was 98-yard return.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
big boy return,
Which was
six
exactly, I'm like, it was
yeah,
amazing. I'm here for those. Yeah, I'm
six
here for those.
6'5", 265 pounds. I remember
Ooh,
his
you know he
weight.
was tired.
Oh, they had him on the
I'm
Mhm.
tired of
sideline getting
hearing
ice.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
but yeah, it was. I love a big boy TD, and that's what we got in that game. That was fun.
That was so fun.
Yeah, but
So, but yeah, it was close. I was surprised too how close this game was kept. And again, it came down to it could have gone either way. It was
Hmm.
Sam
pretty
Hubbard.
amazing.
Yeah, Sam
There
Hubbard.
we
By the
go.
way. Yeah, yeah, 98 yards, 6'5", 265 pounds. Boy, I'd be passed out on that sideline.
Yeah.
Yep, give me the
Shoot. Right.
oxygen. Let me
You'd
sit
have to
out a
cart me out.
few.
I'd have to. Yeah.
And he was gone, bro. He was sprinting.
You,
Man.
I was
oh
like,
man. How
wow.
exciting though. He
Yeah,
this is my one shot. This is it.
absolutely. Forever, he'll have that moment. So yeah, that was
Oh,
awesome. Obviously, I don't. I'm like, oh fuck, we got to play the Bengals, but I mean, that was still kind of
right.
cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what else there is to really say. Like, they took care of business. They should have done it more, probably, but
Another divisional game. Just
another
want to point that
divisional
out.
game.
Those do matter, and they had just played a week before the
Right.
same teams. Yeah, so I mean,
Fresh
I
in the
think that
mind.
did put yeah. Snoop wants the job. Tyler Huntley, I think he wants the job.
Mm.
I even though probably who shouldn't be talking about this, I think Sammy Watkins kind of maybe
Mm,
echoed what the locker room. This is just speculation. What the locker room is feeling about Lamar Jackson. They feel kind of
mhm.
abandoned. Like if y'all don't know, Sammy Watkins went on record saying, "Oh man, whatever injury you have, man, he should be pushing through it." Like that
I,
fool was.
yeah.
That is the most pot calling kettle
Well,
quote
Yeah,
ever. Like,
yeah.
Sammy,
yeah,
you cannot do that, bro. You
Sammy
can't.
is the
Mm-mm.
last person to be talking about that.
Not with your
But
history. No, no.
yeah, but I do think maybe that sentiment's going around in that locker room, possibly.
Yeah, and to me, what that is that's less an issue where Lamar should have pushed himself to play because he shouldn't have. If he did not feel like he could play, he felt like it could threaten his career or even just his game, anything like that, he shouldn't be playing the ball. He's the only one who
Hundred
knows.
percent.
He's the only
Yeah,
one who knows, and so you shouldn't doubt it. What that tells to me though is like when the players and those rumors are circulating around, Watkins is bold enough to even say it outside. That means though that Lamar Jackson has lost the locker room, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
yeah,
his
no, 100%.
leadership skills are probably a little bit on the weaker side there. All that's going to do is just really hurt his ability to get the bag in the off season. And I mean, do we
Yeah.
see a scenario where he's no longer a Baltimore Raven next
I
year?
think it's
I,
a done deal.
I think so too. I think like yeah, just
That's
seeing that he lost the
crazy.
locker room. When the season began, what we were all talking like, dude, yeah, get it, because he was at that point in time
Yes.
was going to end up with the best contract ever.
If
And
Right.
with how
if
the
the
season
Damar
ended.
Hamlin thing, yeah, I was gonna
Mm,
say if the Damar Hamlin thing, one of the many things that moment taught us is you gotta get your money now, like while you can in this league, because injuries do happen or incidents happen, right?
hmm
It's you. I completely understood, Lamar trying to get his bag. Like he
Yeah,
feels like he's owed that money. He definitely, and that team owes him a lot. Like
they
he's
do.
definitely made them a contender. I mean, he was a 2018 MVP and things like that. 2019 maybe
Yeah.
Mahomes was 2018. I get that confused, like back to back.
Yeah,
Right.
2019.
Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, you're right, man. That's when I mean, if you don't got the locker room, that's when that type of stuff comes out. Because
hmm
otherwise, you won't hear guys saying stuff like that. Period. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Instead,
Man,
they'd
if
be
this is
defending them.
indeed, if this is indeed his last season as a Raven, it's gonna be so weird seeing him anywhere else.
Yeah, and even trying to figure out where he'd go,
But yeah, where would he?
that's
Yeah,
going to be a head
exactly.
scratcher. So,
That part of the
People been
puzzle is
saying
going to be really
Miami.
difficult to fit.
you
But
know,
A
yes,
lot of people
people be
saying
saying Tom
Miami.
Brady in Miami too. I
yeah,
don't
Say
know.
that. That's what I say. I don't know how relevant. I mean, there is some truth, there is some relevancy to the Tom Brady thing, but a lot of people think a lot of people don't think Tua's coming back right now. Like,
hmm
and I
Right.
don't think he should. To be honest, I honestly don't
Anybody
think he
with
should at all.
sense doesn't think that Tua should come back.
Yeah,
yeah,
but they at least
It's
think the
when you
coaches should look into other options, right? Maybe
right.
Tua himself wants to come back. Maybe the coach
right.
needs to put the kibosh on that. Like, bro, your health is more important.
Exactly.
and then look another
Yeah,
direction.
The rest of your life is more important.
Yeah,
right. It's
Lamar Jackson, hometown product. That could be an option. Just saying.
hey. All right, and then the last game, boy howdy. Uh, I feel like what
Yeah,
this is without a doubt the most dominant game of the
yeah, for
weekend.
sure.
The Cowboys
Yeah.
Oh,
dominating the Bucks. That it just I just want I don't even know if I'd want to be around him. I'm just curious what the last 24 hours has been like for Tom Brady. And just like is he just sitting and like I don't know
Breaking surface tablets all over the place.
right,
That's
he's
what you're really
just like
asking. Okay.
seething in one of his little vegan kind of, I don't know, sauna situation. I just like I don't know.
screw,
It's hilarious in my mind right
screw
now.
Tom Brady. Screw Tom Brady. The whole time I was watching that game and every missed field goal, I was thinking about
Oh
you,
my
Billy.
god.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes. Can we please talk
Forget
about
Tom
this?
Brady. Oh my God, y'all, the family text. We're like, oh my God, he missed the PAT. Oh my God, he missed it. Oh my God, he missed it. Oh my God, kicker's making money and doing crap. And then I'm sitting there going, Billy is having a heyday. Oh my
Just
gosh.
I don't
although I
Ooh.
although I couldn't see Billy, I can only imagine.
No, we could have. We all saw Billy. We all saw
Well,
Billy.
let me say, like I had both. I had two. I have two, TV screens set up. I had one on the regular broadcast, just because I didn't really have a real reason for it. But I had one on the regular broadcast, and I had one on the Manning cast.
Oh my
And
God. Yes.
and then
Their faces.
yes,
Oh.
when Peyton Manning got up and walked away from the camera, I was like, "That's Billy."
yeah.
I was like,
Oh
"That's
my
Billy."
God.
It
Yes, totally.
I
Totally.
it's so
That was epic.
nice. It's so nice when it's not a Chiefs player doing it, but
Oh, for sure.
four, I I mean, did he
Was it
get
four?
cut?
I thought it was five.
Oh, was it five at the end of the day?
It might have ended up being five. I thought he did four and then made up with for an extra point finally.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. But yeah, did he get fired at is he still on the team?
He
He's
Oh,
still
is,
on the team.
as of
It's
now,
too
he's
late
still
for
on the team. I don't.
yeah.
What? It's too late. You could put in anyone else with a uniform on the Cowboys to go in there, and they would have accidentally kicked one of
Jerry
four. Like
Jones. Jerry
just
Jones was
Jerry,
about to go in. You
man.
know, that meme was hilarious.
Yeah, I did
But
see
yeah,
that.
no, that was crazy. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. I just could not believe. And I know that we've been there before with, oh my God, Butker missed another one, coming off of injuries and the weirdness of this whole season and his being off. But this was just so crazy to see. So I felt like, yeah, that kind of overshadowed the fact that, oh yeah, Tom Brady lost his 20th playoff appearance, So,
Well,
oh,
and I mean, okay, he's not gonna. Realistically, he's not gonna get cut. I don't know, but
right.
one thing to keep in mind is he was pretty much Mr. Automatic during the entire regular season, short of any kind of crazy distance on a field goal or. Excuse me there. Any kind of crazy distance on a field goal or a weird situation being set up, he was knocking in field goals, and I think he missed like
Mhm.
one PAT all year before this game. So this
Yeah,
really does like looking at the stats and everything. This really does feel like homie ate a bad piece of fish and had a stomach bug going on, kind of thing.
Oof.
During the game, and that's what was what was causing the miss or whatever. If he
definitely think.
oh sorry
Well, I was just gonna say, it definitely to me just seemed like a loss of confidence. Like after you
yeah
miss the first two, then you're all of a sudden then you're in your head about it, and then you miss two more. Uh, Definitely glad that the team. I mean, and then coach goes for it when he probably could have tried a field goal on a fourth down. Because of all the missed kicks, but
Well, I think that's less the missed kicks absolutely played into that factor, but also the fact that they were not going to get punished going for it
true,
there,
true.
because
They were up
yeah,
pretty ahead by then. Yeah, you're right.
exactly. But no, you're right. So sorry.
No, but I am glad he did get a chance of redemption. And to your point, yeah, they could bring in somebody else, but I don't know about like a whole season. They're already in the playoffs now.
Hmm.
If anything, what I would have done, if like, because I right, like Kevin, he's saying any of this, but I probably would have brought some. They've got to have a kicker on the practice squad, right? Just bring him up for a game. And
Hmm.
like, hey man, you know what? We're gonna bring you guys both on. I don't know if they can do that. They'd have to drop somebody, right? Um,
You got a 53-man roster, like
Yeah, yeah,
you can drop your sixth string linebacker or whatever, but
sure. Yeah, something like that. Like they had to, they probably could have brought somebody up just in case.
yeah,
And it's like, Maher, you missed this next one. You're out
yeah,
for the
sorry, dude.
rest of the game. Yeah, but
No,
yeah,
and I think why we see, the coach and the team standing behind him is just because this was an anomaly for him. I think if somebody like Butker does this, or
Mm.
any handful of other kickers that had a rough season, the narrative's changing hugely because Butker's had a bad season, regardless of injury status or whatever. If he goes on to miss 4 field goals in this, or extra points in this upcoming game, the discussion's significantly different in the locker room, I feel, than what it was for the Cowboys. And especially, yeah, sure, you don't know it at the time where he misses the first three, but at that point, you're up 18-0. You're probably not too worried about the fact that you've left 3 points out on the field. It sucks. You don't want that, especially when you're playing against the comeback king there and Tom Brady. But at,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, they won by almost 20 points, so they'll be okay. They'll get
yeah.
over it.
You say they weren't worried, but Dak did throw his helmet down at that point. He did throw his helmet. We had another helmet throw
Another
in the
helmet throw.
game after that point. So I think they were a little nervous because I mean we do have to discuss. We gotta talk about, is this fool's last game? Or sorry, is this Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback all
Of
that
all
good
time.
stuff. Whatever. Is this his last game?
Well, this was the first time he'd ever
What do
been
we think?
shut out since his first preseason game, or first postseason game as a. So this is the first time he's been
Don't
shut
know
out in a
that.
half, since his very first postseason game, I think, and that's kind of crazy. I always thought the Cowboys were going to win this. I know we talked about this a little bit last week, Raw, and I know a lot of people were like, "No, they're traveling to the Bucks. It's Tom Brady. This is going to be a tough one." I
Yeah.
didn't expect it to be this dominant, but man, if they're,
Dak balled out.
uh-huh, oh yeah,
He was like, "Yep, yeah, the best game he'd ever played, probably." Like he balled out,
and
which probably
certainly
means he
best
might be due.
postseason game. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm just saying, just but with like, hopefully, they continue to fare well, because it's nice to see them do well. But yeah, it was just absolutely incredible to see him do so well, and then absolutely incredible to see Tom Brady do so poorly.
Yeah,
Let me just tell y'all, he's coming back. Let's not
He's
even
not.
entertain this. There's not even
He's
gonna entertain it.
45,
He's coming
y'all.
back. That man
He's
has a
he's more
illness.
boomer than I am. He's 45.
That man has an illness. He doesn't want this to be his last game. You know what I'm saying?
He
He
doesn't
is
want to
way
go out
too.
this way, which
That's not how he want
which
to go out. Yeah,
right,
exactly,
which means you should have retired a couple years ago. You would have gone out on top. You would still be
exactly,
married. I mean,
exactly.
all these
you're
things.
so be married.
Actually, I think he's fine with that. I think his game actually got better after the divorce, um,
Oh,
but I think I was just talking about Lamar to the Dolphins earlier. I mean, I don't think Brady comes back to the Bucks, but I mean, I can see him. There was already talks before the Bucks about Miami, right? Who's to say
there
that
was
doesn't
talks
happen
about
next
that.
year?
There was rumors about he could be
Vegas.
seen as an Vegas Raider. I'm like,
Yep.
ooh,
Yep.
that's weird.
Do it. Do it so we can beat you twice.
God.
Do it, Brady. I dare you. Please
Oh
do it.
my gosh. So yeah, so in the off season for them, because it's not an off season yet, it'll be interesting to hear the rumors swirling around that situation and what's going to happen there.
I I just for me, I think, and I mean, you're right. He's probably not done. I think there needs to be an understanding of why he missed half his passes. And some of
Yeah.
okay, a few of those, seeing a few of those, they were hitting the hands of the receivers, and the receivers were just
Yeah.
straight dropping them. Some of
Mike
them were
Evans.
bad. Some of them I was looking at and like, that is that me throwing? Like, they were just so terrible. And his stat line is 35 completions on 66 attempts. That
I don't want to.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, yeah. You're probably going to say what I'm going to say.
Well, no, I'm actually going to defend him a little bit,
Yeah.
just a little bit,
What?
because I also think his line wasn't really doing much either.
It
You know what
was a
I'm
little
saying?
rough there, yeah.
His line wasn't really protecting that great. I mean, he 45. He can't be taking hits like he was taking.
It's just I just I want to know if like did something happen in the week leading up to the game? He hurt his hand. He had a little stress going on in his hand, something like that. Is that what caused it, or was it just an off day, just like the
You
Cowboys
know what I
kicker,
think it
right?
was? I think he tweaked his back when he put his shoulder pads on. Because, when we're in our 40s like that, stuff like that happens.
I think he got a snap from Antonio Brown, and that probably messed with his head a little bit.
Oh man,
That would mess with
Oh
my
my
head.
that
gosh.
messed
It
with
did
me.
But
mess with
no,
my head.
Billy, in all seriousness, with what you're saying, like it
Yeah.
would be really interesting to see those breakdowns from the more quote unquote experts, what they
Hmm.
see when they break down and analyze each of those plays, those terrible passes, the incompletions and everything else. It would be very interesting to see. Was this Tom Brady? Was it the receiver's fault? Was it deflected? Was it, what
Right.
played a hand in these awful in the awful ratings that you had in this percentage that is not Tom Brady esque.
Right. So, yeah, and I think a lot of that too will just dictate where he ends up next year. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed with the Bucks. I don't know if the Bucks need to be parted ways with him. He's still an
Mm-hmm.
incredible quarterback. He led the Buccaneers to the postseason after an awful start. Like, uh, you know, at this point though, do you start putting your eye towards rebuilding and then you draft somebody that Brady can start teaching? Will Brady be on board with that? Because if you get
Right.
some young college talent, somebody who does fall a little bit into the late round, maybe first round, second round, maybe even somebody who's a sixth round pick, and then if Brady's on board with teaching them how to do it, like as his farewell year, that's a scary thought. Taking somebody with like raw athleticism and then letting Tom Brady teach them how to play the game. It'll
That'd
be
be interesting.
yeah. So if I was in the Bucks and I had any say in what was going on, I think that's what I would want to see. I think it would be hilarious if he did go to a different team, because at that point it would feel like championship chasing. Because we all know he's on
Right.
the tail end of his career, so he will only go somewhere that has a chance of winning a Super Bowl. He's not going to go somewhere to retire because he's already in a perfect place to retire in Tampa
So
Bay.
he's not going to Vegas, is what you're
I,
saying.
He's
I,
going
Leading
to my
to
going to
he's going to
Miami.
Miami.
It's Miami. I'm telling y'all.
He's just packing his bags and going 4 hours south, man. Yeah, that's all it is.
Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, they got weapons. He going. He
hmm
needs he needs weapons. He
It,
he
can't he
needs
can't rely on
weapons.
just being Brady anymore.
Exactly.
if he's championship
Exactly.
chasing, I think the only team he can go to is the Dolphins. I think that's the only team that's going to need a quarterback that has the skill set to make it happen.
And
Um,
listen, this man is crazy. You know what would like probably and just going inside. Like, he's the ultimate competitor, right?
right,
Like, you know what probably makes Miami really appealing? Playing Belichick twice.
playing Belichick twice.
Hmm.
You know it. You
Yeah,
know it. He wants to separate. I mean, he already
he
kind
wants
of
that
did.
revenge.
He already did kind of separate himself from Belichick in a way, I guess. I don't know. I still think it was more of a team effort, but um, yeah. I mean, I could see him just wanting to like really like separate himself from. It's like, hey, I'm not just a Belichick product. I'm freaking Tom Brady, right? So
Right.
I could see that just from just the fact he's still in the league, his just very competitive nature. I think he still think, and I could see the reason I don't think he retires at all is that would eat him alive if that was his last game. I just feel like that would eat him
That's
alive.
that's why
You
I
know?
think he won't retire either. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Man, you guys suck. But you're true.
Sorry,
We
hold
get.
on.
I mean,
I wanted
I
to,
know.
but I'm just being
I know.
real. Like
Nope.
we've been down this road every year. So we've been down this
Every
road
year,
so many times. I'm not letting him
it's
do this to me
exhausting.
again. I'm not letting him
It's
do this to me again.
exhausting. Like, can you just retire so I can like you publicly? I mean,
He gotta get taken out. I mean, not like what I mean by
right,
that
but like,
is it's got to be kind of a season in like
At this
season in
point,
injury
it's
is
a
going to be the only
career-ending
thing.
injury or it's another Super Bowl.
Yes,
That's the only way
sure,
he's done, I think. If he wins a Super
sure.
Bowl next year, he probably retires. If he had won
I'd
the
be
Super
so
Bowl
mad.
this year, I think he
yeah,
retires,
there's that word, probably.
Right. Yeah, he'll keep playing into his 50s.
Oh my God.
Just
He's
Jesus.
like,
be crazy.
Who was it? Vinny Vinatieri. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
kicking. Oh man, what if
the
you transition to kicker?
white-haired.
There you go. They're Cowboys. Just
Oh
pick him up and
my
let him be your
God.
kicker.
Let's not do that.
Position change.
The most
Oh my
aggressive
God.
kicker of all
Oh
time.
my God. Oh my God. Okay. Next. We're done.
Yeah, we're done with
This is
this.
done. Oh,
Next
we're
week.
done.
Yeah,
Next
let's
week.
talk next week then. All right, first game of the week. Okay, so there is one thing I do want to say, and maybe it's just because I'm exposed to the Chiefs audience on Twitter. Have you all been seeing everyone complaining about? And I think it's the silliest thing to complain about. The Chiefs and Eagles being back to back, so Mama Kelsey doesn't get to watch. Both
Oh
games.
my
Have you
God.
been seeing this?
I
And
I
I
mean,
had not seen that yet.
okay, I've been seeing this everywhere, and you know what I haven't seen is the fact that the Bosa brothers had to play back-to-back games, and nobody was sympathetic towards his or mom. So,
Ooh,
I,
maybe
yeah,
their mom, that mom isn't known as well.
right. She's not as
yeah,
hot.
and
Yeah,
you just said it. You're in Chiefs Kingdom.
I'm
If
in
you were
Chiefs
on
Kingdom,
in
right?
Exactly.
Chargers
Ooh,
Kingdom, you might be a little. But I also think that there's kind of a love for the Kelsey brothers on both
oh,
sides,
for
the Eagles
sure.
and Chiefs.
Uh-huh.
So that I think that's where that kind of comes from. It's because Chiefs Kingdom loves Jason Kelsey. It doesn't matter if he's an Eagle. They love Jason Kelsey. They love Mama
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey because New Heights and all that good stuff. Like they're just likable guys. So I think they want that for her. I get it, but I think she'll be fine, guys. I think she'll be fine. I think
Yeah,
she'll be all right.
she'll be just fine.
They already
Who
did.
will she pick?
They already discussed that. If y'all haven't had a chance, just I know we always talk about them. They had the Gronkowski episode on Monday, and they were talking about who they think the favorite is, and they're pretty sure
Oh,
it's Travis. They're pretty sure it's Travis,
yeah.
but the parents will never say. But they were just talking about how the dad told Jason, he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to your brother's game. He's like, oh okay.
I
Well,
can't even imagine as a mom of two boys and having to had make that decision this last football season. I can't even imagine doing that at the NFL to be
yeah.
put in a position. Hmm.
Yeah, you
Well,
gotta
we're flipping a coin, y'all. It comes down to a coin toss. That's just how we gotta do it.
shoot.
Since we're talking about like some maybe a little small little gripes about it, I actually thought it was interesting, and this is just from my standpoint, just from like the spirit of competition, that the Chiefs and Eagles, they get Saturday games along with the bye week, so they still get like an
Yeah.
extra day between the championship games and
You
whoever
know,
they could meet in the
Hmm.
championship game. I was like, yeah, I feel
yeah.
like they should have put it on Sunday. you know?
Well, and I feel like you put the AFC on one day and you put the NFC on another day, and then
Right.
that
They
way
used to do that.
I can't remember.
Yes, I thought
Did
they
they?
used to do that.
I thought they used to
I
do that. Yeah, no, for real. No, you're right. I thought they used to do that though.
I mean,
I'm pretty
because
sure
it
they
it
did.
makes sense. So who knows what it is that's causing it to be like this? I also don't frequently remember a Monday night playoff game. That was new
Hmm.
this year too, right? So that's probably
I felt
why.
like it was.
Yeah, that's probably why it's thrown off like this. I think that's the only silly thing. I think you have to put the AFC on one day and NFC on the other. I'm curious to see why they had to program it this way. I know and it's not just the NFL that gets to weigh in, but it's the broadcasters too who get a lot of say in when these teams play.
Well,
So
okay. So and along this, the 49ers, just played last night, right? Wait, no, no. I'm sorry. What am I thinking? Last night's game. Will
Cowboys.
be
Cowboys
playing, the Cowboys will be playing against the 49ers this coming week. The 49ers had like 2 extra days all said and done,
of
you
rest,
know?
yeah.
So there's
True.
that too. Yeah.
True.
So you're facing up against that. And that's why it's like, oh, the Monday game is different. And that's why I think they used to. AFC was one day, NFC was the other day, so that both teams had the same amount of off days.
Yeah, people are all
Yeah.
focused on this neutral site thing and not talking about this. Let's go. Come on. So,
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about it. I mean,
oh no,
I'm
yeah,
sure
there's
we'll have like a whole if it happens, we'll have a whole
Yeah.
conversation on
Yep.
the neutral site next week.
We'll
I
get
think,
there, y'all.
yeah, definitely focus right now, definitely it's Jaguars.
yes, yeah.
And
Let's actually talk about this,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, no, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
we whooped them earlier in the year, but I think that was a little bit before they figured themselves out. They are going to come in a little bit more hotter, a little bit more hungry.
Mm-hmm.
this time around. That being said, it's still a young team. So it's still a young team. Still not what we got. I'm more confident about this game than I would have been about Chiefs Chargers. That's just me personally. I don't know
Yeah,
about you guys.
I have to say
yeah.
I'm the opposite. I think I would have been
Really?
more
Okay.
confident about a Chargers game. I think the Jags are hitting their stride at the right time. They got While we were just talking about, Staley and how he has the players' backs and all that kind of stuff, Doug Peterson's a much better coach, if you ask me.
Hmm.
And I think just all around across the board, the Jags have just better talent, man for man. Chargers have some outstanding stellar players, but then those players also have to make up for some players who are a little less than stellar. So yeah, it's the Jags. The Jags are a little more concerning for me, and I know we did the final score of that game against the Jaguars was a lot better than some of the other games that we've had. But I remember that first half being touch and go. It's so who knows? We'll see what happens. I think we will win. Obviously, we are the better team across the board, but I think I'd rather be playing the Chargers.
Oh no, we always keep it so tight with the Chargers that
Hmm.
I think I'm with Raw here. So it makes me nervous anytime we face the Chargers or an AFC, that AFC West divisional team in these types of situations. But like the Jags, like I said earlier, were scary against the Titans. However, you could see um uh how not disciplined they were playing that first half against the Chargers. And so I think like seeing that and whatnot, I feel like if we are really on our game, that we can put them in that spot where they're not as disciplined, where they're playing inconsistently, and we just have their number completely. So that inexperience versus experience situation here, where I feel like we will come out on top in this situation,
Do
even
we
though that defense is legit.
do we think we'll have all our weapons? Do we think McCall plays
McCole
No,
will not
I,
play.
I think McColl's done. I think
Yep.
career he's done.
in Kansas City?
Yep.
No, I think he has suffered a career-ending injury. There's,
Really?
Really?
so I mean, this is maybe just me speaking from a little bit of experience, but I can tell you once something major happens to your abdomen, and especially if it's happening to the muscles into your abdomen, you feel it forever. It's like I had those
Oh,
major surgeries after getting hit by a car in college, and I have that big scar down my stomach from when they did all that work on me, and it still hurts to this day. If McColl's having
Wow.
anything similar to that, and then you're putting him into a professional football situation, the fact that he hasn't come back yet, and it's been an abdominal issue this entire time, I think
Yeah,
that's
because they say it's pelvis, right?
yeah, it seems to change between like the groin, the pelvis, the abs. It's like it's something in
Hmm.
his midsection that's causing problems, and I mean. The fact that yeah, we got one of the best athletic training staffs in the entire NFL, and if they haven't been able to bring him back yet,
Yeah.
hopes with him. Like, Lord knows, he was the guy who I said was going to be our receiving leader. I really like the guy, and I really hope he was going to come back. An off season will tell us a lot, of course, but I think he's definitely done as a Chief, and he might just be done. Period. Because if you got
Wow.
interesting.
yeah, if you got abs that you're not going to be able to bounce back from, or something in your pelvis like that, that's going to be hard to convince any team to sign you.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully that's. I definitely hear what you're saying, and definitely since you are speaking from experience, like, yeah, it sounds like, and just given from what we, like you just said, like what we know, he hasn't been back. Like,
Yeah,
I hope that he finds a way, but I mean, yeah, I mean, just given those points you laid out, you could be right. This could be it. This
and
could be it. I mean,
and
he had good spirit online, so he's not
right.
giving any of his cards away. But yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, it definitely sounds like this is way more serious than we intentionally
Initially, yeah.
initially thought. Golly, yeah, initially thought. Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean I should stress what I went through is significantly different than what he's been going through. I can just tell you like it does linger.
Hmm.
And I my actual surgery, like I wasn't allowed to lift weights for a year and a half in order to
Oh
fully
my
recover from it.
gosh.
If he's having something in a similar vein there and he's not able to even like, get to a workout standpoint, who knows? So
Wow.
it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what happens. We don't know the full details, but I think that in and of itself is the red flag that we
Sure.
don't know
Right.
the details.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before we move on to other teams, and we won't have to spend too much time on this, but definitely just want to shout out. Looks like both Matt Nagy and Eric Bieniemy are getting looks from other teams for coaching positions.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
that's definitely something we'll have to keep an eye on coming into these next few weeks. Or next couple months, I should say, probably. But yeah,
I
Caught
love that
yourself there.
Nagy's
Okay.
been here for like 5 minutes and he's already getting other coaching offers. Like, come on.
yeah, man.
I can't blame him. I would go too. It's not his fault. It's just,
Yeah, happy for
gosh.
him, but yeah, I mean, y'all did watch the Bears, right?
Right, right.
Y'all did see that.
So, I mean, one good
Yeah,
season as a quarterback coach with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback does not a coach make.
Right.
golly, yeah,
Oh man.
but yeah. In the interest of time, I wanted to see if we could maybe kind of loop
Sprint
the
through these
NFC.
last through a few or
Well, yeah, at least the NFC teams
mm,
before we talk about Bills and Bengals.
sure.
Um, but yeah, just looking at these two matchups, Giants at Eagles, it's another divisional matchup, and probably gonna be a close one. Like we already mentioned, shout out to the NFC East for proving us wrong. And you got three teams in here. The Commanders had a outside chance to get in too, so let's
Yeah.
not forget that. But that being said, I think the Giants it ends for them here. I mean, it'll probably be a good game. It'll probably be entertaining, but I don't think with Jalen Hurts back, there's no way. I think the Eagles are gonna destroy them. I didn't know if y'all had any thoughts on that.
No, I'm with you. If Jalen Hurts is back and he's playing, yeah, I don't think that the Giants will have a chance.
I'm
Yeah, I don't know, Billy.
I'm curious because like the last game of the season was Eagles Giants and it was a 22-16 game. The thing to remember about that, what other people may be forgetting, is that the Giants rested their starters and the Eagles did not. And that game
Ooh,
was that close. But
yeah,
only a few weeks earlier in December 11th, when they played each other and it was starters on both sides, it was 48-22. So it's just like, I
Oof.
mean, it's
yeah,
just like
Oof.
looking at this, like, man, who,
Oh,
I,
you can't analyze it either way.
it's gonna this is going to be the Giants are going to play their game and they're probably going to play well. This will be on the Eagles to win or lose it.
100%,
It depends
100%.
on which Eagles team does show up because when it's a bad Eagles team that shows up, they're bad. And it's entirely possible that's exactly what happens. I mean, these guys lost to the Saints in the second to last game of the season. They blew it against the Cowboys. It was getting to the point where going into the last game of the season, the number one seed was far from locked up, and nobody was sure. And then they barely squeaked by a second string Giants team in order to lock it in. So it's
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I think the Eagles will beat the Giants, but it's not the upset that I'm thinking is going to happen this weekend. That's for sure.
Gotcha. That's fair.
sure,
Mhm.
man, and that would be a major upset if the Giants pulled off against the Eagles. That'd be
Oh,
huge.
I think I might still
Wait,
slip in a $5 bet on the Giants and just,
No,
hope for the
you know
best.
what?
that's
It's
insane.
not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Um,
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
definitely I'm definitely excited about the other side,
Hmm.
the with the Cowboys Niners. Just kind of quick aside. I don't know if y'all know this. There's a docu series on Peacock from Joe Montana. So it's a docu it's a chronicling like his life and everything. So it's similar to like Jordan's Last Dance or if you've seen Brady's Man in the Arena.
Mm-hmm.
There's one on Joe Montana. So I was watching some of that and they talk about, those Cowboys Niners matchups and how crazy they were every time. And even when Steve Young was the quarterback, and of course, I live in Dallas. I know about how much of a rivalry this is. So I love that they are meeting in the playoffs yet again in another year.
Yeah.
Like that's always fun. That's great for the league. I think it's gonna be exciting. That being said, I think the Niners kick their ass. It's going to. I think there's no way.
No faith
There's
in your
no
home
way.
team, huh?
No way, man. I really think they're going to the Super Bowl. I know I might be in the minority on that, but I just think the Niners are hot. I think that like I said, I think they're playing to win. They've got the coach. Like I just don't see I definitely don't see the Cowboys getting past them. I think we're looking at a Niners Eagles matchup regardless. But I could see the Niners making it all the way.
Okay.
I see. This is my hot take. I think the Cowboys beat them.
Really? Okay, maybe. Okay. What makes you
I
say
no,
that?
I think everything you said is true. And if the 49ers show up and play to the level that we know they're capable of playing, then it should be in the bag, no problem whatsoever. It's just at some point, I don't think Purdy's. I think Purdy's going to get exposed. You know,
Yeah.
I cannot imagine for the life of me people who get paid millions of dollars to be NFL scouts let somebody who is playing as well as Birdie fall to Mr. Irrelevant without a reason. Um,
Yeah.
so it's you know, and maybe they're all wrong, and maybe and because of that, maybe I'm wrong. It's just you know, up until now, I don't think they've played a defense as good as the Cowboys, just because the Cowboys defense I think is a lot better than people give them genuine credit for, and statistically
Fair.
that is backed. So he's now going to have to be playing against. A really good defense in the form of the Cowboys. Playoff pressure has to start coming in at some point, and we'll see what happens. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I think it'd be awesome to have a story of Mr. Irrelevant going and getting beat by Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, but um, you
Right?
know,
Has there ever been a Mr. Irrelevant that has been like, oh, he's not really that irrelevant? The way Brock
Right.
Purdy has been this season, has
in
there?
the
Ryan Suckup.
quarterback position, no. Yeah, there
Yeah, in the
have
Okay.
quarterback position,
other
no.
positions absolutely, but quarterbacks no.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked this up when when the whole Mr. Relevant thing, like not that I'm like all in on the 49ers, but
Right.
it's a cool story. Like you said,
No, it
it's
is.
Mr. Irrelevant. Like, and I did look
Right.
up how other Mr. Irrelevants have fared, and really the most successful one is Ryan Suckup, Kansas
Hmm.
City. We know who
Yep.
that is. Yeah,
Yep.
he's the only one I think to ever play and win a Super Bowl. So
Right.
this would be the second ever to play. Of course, we don't want him to win a Super Bowl. But yeah,
Right.
that if they if they make it, like, in to your point, Billy, absolutely, the defense, Cowboys defense, Micah
Hmm.
Parsons playing lights out. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a great point. This will be, it's gonna be a fun game, man.
it
I'm
is.
excited for this one, y'all.
That'll definitely be one that I'm going to try to watch more than just passively. And I don't know, it just feels so weird like being in on the Cowboys like this, but you know, I think I think they're showing up at the right time. And of all the games this week, I think this is the one where the lower seed will win. All the other times, I think the higher seed is probably going to pull it out.
All
But
right, y'all.
talking about that though, Bengals
Let's
Bills.
go ahead. Yeah, let's get into. It's like I'll think of that
Okay.
meme. That meme where
Yeah.
it was like, who would you rather want to win? And it's like a picture of Voldemort, and there's a picture of
Right.
Palpatine from Star Wars. It's like, oh man, I didn't want either of these teams to make it this far because
Same.
the Bengals, they got our number. The Bills, we know it's gonna be tough. They both beat us in the regular season. We knew that the top three teams in the AFC, out of the top five teams in the league, were Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills. And look, lo and behold, here we are. So it's gonna be cool to get to see the I guess what would have been the matchup for that Monday night game
Hmm.
finally play out, even though it will be in Buffalo this time around. That being said, I was a little bit nervous before, like what Billy said, a little bit nervous if we were to face either of these teams in the playoffs before this weekend. But
Hmm.
just kind of coming out of this weekend, even though they both had divisional matchups and everything, I think both teams have some fatal flaws that we can exploit if we play our game. Um, and I wanted to see if either of y'all had any thoughts on that. Probably get in detail what I think their flaws are.
No, I like your thinking. I definitely didn't want to. It was very nerve-wracking to think about that situation with facing the Bengals for a fourth time in a calendar year, facing the Bills because they just find a way to compete and keep it tight in there when we play them. But yeah, I want to hear more about these fatal flaws that you think that each of these teams have going for them.
I,
Well,
I
oh, go
totally
ahead,
agree.
Bill.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I just, after seeing, and you alluded to it, after seeing how they played against backup quarterbacks, I'm a lot less scared,
Hmm.
and I am, yeah, curious to see what you're calling out exactly here.
Well, I mean, they're both. Let's be real. Like, their strongest features, right, are their quarterbacks, right?
Hmm.
It's Joe
Yep.
Burrow and Josh Allen. But Josh Allen, he makes a lot. He's at least the last couple weeks, he's been making minimal mistakes. I think that's something we can definitely exploit if we were to face them. The Bengals offensive line, I still think is a problem for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
And I think our
for sure.
our defensive front, like, yeah, we can definitely take advantage of those boys. So that gives me, I don't want to say hope because it's still like I still think we're strong. Like if anyone's going to beat us, it's us. But they are going to
Right.
give us a run, and but I think if we come in, play our game, play a complete game, yeah, we got these guys. Either
Yeah.
one we were face. So
Agree.
that's my opinion.
Agree.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just this pat last week wasn't an anomaly by any means. There's no way you go into a playoff game and let it be a trap game, or at least I hope you don't. So for both of these teams to have the struggles that they did against relatively weak teams in the Ravens and in the Dolphins, especially with them being divisional rivals, so people you have a lot of tape on, people you have a lot of experience facing, and then playing their second, their third string quarterback there. Yeah, just come on, guys. It'll be fun to see, yeah, how the game results. I think you're right, though. It'll be the Bengals offensive line needs to play well, and then Josh Allen needs to not make a bunch of mistakes. I don't see either of those things
Mm-hmm.
happening. So does that lead it to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game? Who knows? But you know what I really want to see happen is them go to overtime and the Bills lose because they scored the
Oh
first
my God.
touchdown, but because of the rule that they got implemented in this offseason after their little fit throwing, the Bengals make a drive and then end up winning the game off of that.
I would love that
I
too.
would love
I
that.
actually would love
Absolutely would love that.
that. That's not who I picked, but
That's not who I'm picking either. Yeah.
yeah. But no, when you put it that way, yes, that would be just mwah.
Yeah.
That would just
It's
be
like,
chef's kiss.
oh,
That's
it just.
amazing, you guys.
Just get
You're like,
if we're
here
gonna
we
do it
go.
that way, get everybody
Okay, but
from that
do
2018
we think
Patriots
there's
team.
any shot that the Bills don't win this game? I feel
Absolutely.
like, okay, all right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
and yeah, I cut you off there, but what were you going to
Nope,
say?
nope, nope, nope. Because there's I feel like it feels awful to say, but like I think there's such a story with the whole, well, Damar Hamlin's being resuscitated previously while he was on this field, like playing against this same team, and then to come to this far, like I could see where there's a story where the Bills go all the way and they like carried this chip, like this faith and this belief and this chip on their shoulders all the way to the end. I don't know. I feel like this
See,
is where like we're like, I hope that Vegas doesn't have an impact. I hope that officiating doesn't have an
mhm.
impact. But I feel like part of it is like, man,
jeez,
they're out to make a story. You know what I mean? Or create a story or carry the story further than it should go.
See,
yeah,
you're saying the Bills have the chip on their shoulder. I bet it's the Bengals that have the chip on their shoulder. Because if
Yeah.
that game on that Monday night had been played to completion and the Bengals had won that game, they're in position to get the number one seed. But because that game didn't get
Mm.
played, they got screwed out of a chance for the number one seed. So,
And because of the scenario and how they
uh-huh,
got screwed out of it, they haven't been able to complain, quote unquote, about this, right?
uh-huh.
Because it wouldn't be right to. Yeah. Okay.
And not just
Well,
that,
I
but
see that
like
too.
fully understanding that we only saw a quarter of play and that's not when football games are won. The Bengals were winning that game at that point in time,
Right.
and they
they had the
have to
momentum.
feel, yeah, they had the momentum. They have to feel somewhat cheated, even if none of them will say it.
Hmm.
And honestly, none of them should say it because that would look a little
Right.
petty. But I think they're going to come in here and be like, "No, we had your number that Monday night." Because that game didn't get played, we lost a chance at the number one seed. We're coming for you, and we're going to prove that we're the ones who deserve to have at least had a shot at the number one seed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, I mean they have kind of said it. They were like, the sentiment is like, hey, we played by the rules. We were cool with canceling the game there. Not that they wouldn't have done that anyway, but just kind of they were not happy. I
Hmm.
believe it was like the owner who came out and said something like, or they at least recused themselves from voting.
Yeah.
But they weren't happy with
Ah.
how the decisions were made on how they were going to kind of rectify the situation. They're not happy about that. And of course, yeah, you're right. They're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to come in ready to play. I mean, Joe Burrow plays with a chip on his shoulder. I feel I mean, he's a great quarterback. Like, let's be real. They're a great quarterback.
Yeah, he's a
The
great
team,
competitor.
yeah, they've kicked our ass 3 times. Maybe not kicked our ass. That's a little strong, but they've beaten us 3 times. We haven't figured them
And
out
we
yet.
let them kick our ass. I mean,
Yeah, we haven't figured out how to beat them yet.
right.
So, um, I do think they come in with that hunger, but I'm actually with Hong. I think the Bills got this. I think the Bills they were sweating a little bit against Miami. I don't think they're gonna come in with those same mistakes against the Bengals. So at least they're gonna
Right.
try not to.
Hmm.
So hopefully, it'll be an entertaining game. So it sounds like Billy, you've got the Bengals winning.
So I, well,
And
I still think the Bills will win this, but
okay,
this weekend this is the most evenly matched game without a doubt,
Yeah.
and I'm super excited to see the result of it, and I hope that the Bengals win off of an overtime defeat of the Bills. Just for the sweet, hey, shut the hell up, Bills fans kind of thing. Um, but yeah, if I had to put my life savings on which team will win this, it's the Bills.
yeah, yeah. I would say though, if this somehow goes into overtime, these little
Oh
yahoos
God.
thinking that the NFL scripted, they're gonna have some more ammo. I'm like, that's just too storybook. That's just too
Two
storybook.
storybook.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's end it with some predictions. We're really just gonna predict the score of our game. Of
Hmm.
course, we think the Chiefs are gonna win. Sounds like we
Yes.
get. If we real quick, do we want to give who we think? I think we already did kind of, but just for clarity, the NFC matchups: Giants, Eagles. Who do y'all got? I got Eagles.
Eagles.
Eagles,
Yeah,
Yes.
and Niners, Cowboys. Niners,
Uh,
Cowboys.
I want to go Cowboys.
Cowboys. Okay. All right. And let's, of course, Jags and Chiefs. We already said Bengals, Bills. So Jags
Jeez.
and
Yeah.
Chiefs, obviously Chiefs. Scores. Do we think it's going to be high scoring, low scoring? Billy, where you at?
Ooh, this is a tough one. Knowing kind of how that last game ended, I'm seeing like maybe a 34-24 kind of score line.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
there.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a little bit higher, maybe. I think in like 37-27.
Okay. And Ra?
I'm going 36-17. I think we'll
17.
be
Okay.
hungry. We're going to come out and I think that first
That's a
half was,
bold score prediction. I like it.
I mean, they didn't play well. I I do think they've been playing well. Like I think the Jaguars, great young team. They're gonna see the playoffs again next year, next couple years. They got
Next 10 years, come on. That AFC South's
yeah.
Oh,
so weak. They're taking over.
You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That division. Yeah, you're right. They probably be here for a little while, but I do think some of that game against the Chargers. I mean, they call it charging for a reason. Like I
Hmm.
think some of that game was on them. So I
No, yeah.
do think that comeback. I don't see the Chiefs having that same kind of uh keeping them in the game in the same way that the Chargers did. That's just my opinion. But yeah, that's why I'm going 36-17.
All right, I got
okay.
one more prediction that I just want to hear from you all, just for fun, kind of thing. Nothing too serious here. Does Kelsey break his scoring drought this game?
Yes.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
will. If
I,
not
I'm
this
I'm I'm
game, he
going
will in
no.
the playoffs. You're saying no?
I,
Okay,
I think
okay.
against the Jags he won't. I mean, they'll do everything they can to shut him down too. So, uh, you
And
know,
it won't be.
I mean, we're still going to win. It's fine. I'm just curious. Will it go to 7 games? And probably not. Let's hope not.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
All right. Well. Where can they find you, Billy?
Best place to find me is Twitter at Chef Doobles. There, name's on the top of the screen. I have actually gotten my internet better this past week, especially after
Woohoo.
last week's episode, and managed to even
Ooh.
stream a little bit this past weekend. So you can try to find me on YouTube as well, youtube.com/at Chef Doobles. It's World of Warcraft. If you don't want to watch me play World of Warcraft, don't tune in. It's fine. I understand. It's a boring game. for people. So otherwise, find me on Twitter. Hopefully, we'll see another 4 missed PATs for me to make fun of this coming week.
Huh.
How are you, Hung?
All right, y'all. I'm on pretty much every platform there is out there. You can find me by my first and last name, mostly active on Instagram and Twitter, though. So that's HUONGFORREST. Make sure you come along for the inspiration, stay for the light, the passion, the mom life, and definitely the football. And last but not least, Raw, where can they find you and this podcast?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at The Almighty Raw. You can find our podcast Twitter page at SOT Kingdom KC. You can find us on YouTube, State of the Kingdom. You can find us on Discord. We post the link all the time on our Twitter and our YouTube. So come join us, talk some trash. We don't care what fan you are. Just come have some fun. Let's come talk some football. Our boys are back this week. So let's have a great week. Let's watch some great games and go Chiefs.
And try not to get
Go
arrested.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Let's not
gosh,
rob any
no.
banks.
Don't
Let's
rob
not
any
do
banks.
that. Don't rob no banks. Don't
Wow.
don't
Y'all.
send your snap story. Never mind.
Oh,
Wait,
boy.
wait until you have to pay
Wow.
for the neutral site tickets to rob the banks. That's
There we go.
when you do it.
Oof.
All right. Bye everyone.